A very good noon to all of you. I am Nikita and I welcome you to this session on psychology and philosophy RC passages. So today we'll talk about what is philosophy, what is psychology. We'll see a couple of passages on these genres, right? And hi Sonali, good noon. And if you have any questions about how to approach these genres, we are going to discuss those, right? Good noon, Deepa. Good noon. How are you all? Hi Nishant, good noon. All right. Yes, so let's discuss on a Saturday afternoon what philosophy is. What do you say? What is your understanding of this word? So, we straight away dive into these RC passages. We don't stop and wonder what exactly the genre entails, what exactly is the meaning of the word. Good noon, Jwala. Hello, Arpit. Hi, Pratyusha. Good noon. So, tell me. What is your understanding of this term? Want to hear from you. Okay, then let me only initiate the discussion. Right. So, the word "phil" means love. Phil means love. Right. Then this word comes from the root asophos. The root here is asophos, which means asophos means knowledge or wisdom. Wisdom or knowledge. So, etymologically, philosophy means the love of knowledge, right? Okay, so Nishan says it's a belief or an idea, or we could say a set of beliefs or ideas that a person holds, and there is a thought process behind it. Excellent, Nishant. The study of ideas, all right. So, in a way, what you're saying, I understand that. So, the study of what kind of ideas, let's talk about that. What kind of ideas are studied in philosophy? Okay. So we use our reason. So as you said, there is a thought process, there is reasoning behind it. The use of reason in understanding such things. What kind of things? The nature of the real world and existence. Do I really exist? Or are we all in a simulation? Are we all being controlled by AI? Is there God? Has God created this world? Or it just arose as a result of, evolution? Evolution happened, changes happened over the period, and this world came about. Asking such questions about our existence, about our world, the world around us, that comes under the ambit of philosophy. The use and limits of knowledge. When can I say that I know something for sure? What is truth? How to identify that we have arrived at the truth, that okay, this is objectively true? Asking such questions. And the principles of moral judgment. Okay, right? The principles of moral judgment. I'm sorry, just deleting this ends here. And the principles of moral judgment. So what should we do we have any responsibility towards animals? How should we act in our daily lives? What constitutes acting in a moral manner? All these questions, these are the questions that you deal with when we talk about philosophy, right? So all these things that I've told you, they actually constitute branches of philosophy, right? So what are these branches? Let's have a look. There are multiple branches. Okay, so if you search, there are sub branches to these branches. Then there are some philosophers, some authors say that there are, let's say, 7 branches. Some would say there are more branches, but I am just talking to you about the main branches, right? So metaphysics, again, if I break this word, meta means beyond, physics here refers to science, right? So remember I told you this, the nature of the real world and existence. This is what metaphysics deals with. Is there a God? How was this world created? Is the world around us real? Or are we in a simulation? These questions are dealt with by metaphysics. Epistemology. Epistemics means knowledge. Epistemics means knowledge. So epistemology is the study of knowledge. Imagine we are studying knowledge. We are actually studying when can we say that we know something. Okay, can we ever know something? Can we ever be sure about anything? Right? What is truth? When can we say that we have arrived at the truth? Epistemology. And value theory. Okay, the things that we give value to or the things that we evaluate come under this. Ethics. How should we act in our daily life? What constitutes moral behavior? Do we have a responsibility towards our fellow beings? Do we have a responsibility towards this planet? That constitutes our ethics. Aesthetics is also a part of value theory. What is the meaning of this word, aesthetics? Yes. Hmm. You must have heard this in the context of beauty, right? So, aesthetics is the study of beauty. Beauty, in this sense, is not something that, let's say, in the sense of our popular culture. Here, we are talking about whether there exists something that we can say that it is objectively beautiful and not dependent on our judgment of it. कि वो अपने आप में ही beautiful है and it's not dependent on our judgment, right? So that is what aesthetics deals with. Is there something called beauty? What is the nature of beauty? When can we call something beautiful? That is a part of aesthetics. So these are the main branches of philosophy, right? And how do philosophers ask these questions, try to answer them? What is the toolbox? What is the tool that they use? They use logic. This is what differentiates philosophy from religion. See, religion is also trying to find answers to these questions, right? Does God exist or not? Religion says that, okay, in a lot of religions, we say that yes, God exists. Okay, then morality is also, it also comes under religion, the question of morality. But they might not be using logic there. So, this is what sets philosophy apart, that whatever a philosopher proposes, whatever the philosopher is going to tell you, the philosopher would first have investigated it using his or her logic, right? The principles of logic. So this is what philosophy is. Any questions? Yes, understood. I hope you now have some sense of what the field really is about. Okay, all right. Now, psychology, I think this is something that more of us know about today, right? And it's something that we feel is more relatable for us. But actually, even philosophy is quite relatable. Every decision that we make in our lives is governed by our philosophy, isn't it? So, let's say if you choose not to eat non-vegetarian food, that is governed by your ethics. Ethics are a part of philosophy, isn't it? I mean, it may be governed by your ethics. You may have other reasons also, but let's say there are dietary reasons, then it's not governed by ethics, but it may be governed by your ethics, and that's philosophy. So philosophy affects your everyday life. Similarly, psychology affects your everyday life. So, as you all know, it's the study of psyche. What is psyche? The study of our mind and how it functions, how this mind functions, the kind of behavior that it produces, how it affects our behavior. That is what we say is psychology. And we say this in a given context. So what can be the context? So for example, in educational settings, so that will become educational psychology, right? Then there are a lot of other branches. Developmental psychology, how does a child develop? Child psychology, particularly associated with children. We have something called sports psychology. So there are a lot of types here as well, if you want to call them types, a lot of aspects to it, right? A very vast field. Correct, Sonali, correct. So, how is the mind different from brain? Hmm, this is a question that I have. How is the mind different from the brain? How is a neurologist different from a psychologist? Acha, tell me that. Brain, the doctor of brain is called a neurologist. The doctor of mind, on the other hand, is either we call this person psychologist or psychiatrist. Psychologist or psychiatrist, depending on whether he can prescribe medicines to us or cannot prescribe medicines to us. So, how is a neurologist different from a psychologist or psychiatrist? Yes, brain is a tangible, physical organ of our body. You can touch brain, you can't touch mind. See, what is brain? So, brain has these neurons. They transmit these electrical and chemical signals, right? Which then lead to various functions in our body. So these chemical electrical signals, this network of them, okay, this network of neurons forms a part of our central nervous system, is called the brain, right? Mind, on the other hand, are the experiences that are produced by the transmission of these electrical and chemical signals, like subjective experiences that are produced. Why do we feel hot when we touch something that has a temperature of, let's say, 100 degrees Celsius? Why do we get burnt, in fact? So, why do we feel hot? And how is it that every person might feel a different kind of, let's say, a different degree of hot on touching an object of the same temperature? So, these subjective experiences, these subjective states of awareness, this is what the mind covers. Mind is not tangible. Okay, mind is a product of those experiences, right? I hope this makes sense. So that's why the psychologist talks about the subjective experiences, the behaviors that they produce, whereas neurologist is concerned with the wiring of our brain, right? Okay. So this is about philosophy and psychology. You should know about these fields before you delve into their passages. Now let us talk about an RC passage on philosophy. Very interesting if you pay your attention to it. Okay, if you just put your heart into it, put your mind into it, you will really enjoy this passage. This is the first paragraph. Read and let me know when to go to the next slide. Okay, good, Nishant. Others? Perfect. Done. Okay. Others? Need one more response. Perfect. Let's go to the next slide. Last slide. Okay, so others? Perfect, perfect. Let's see the questions now. So, interesting passage. Okay, this is your first question. Let's see what you say. Yes, Tina, I totally get you. What do you say? Sonali has answered. What about others? A, C, B, D. Okay, pretty much everything I've got. All right. Let's have a look at this. Which is the correct one? We cannot catch a glimpse of things in themselves around the corner of our own eyes. Right. So, what it means is see, let's say, uh, look at any object in your room. Right. So, let's say you look at a table. Now, you look at it as a table, right? Your perception, your uh, perception is how we become aware of things. So your perception tells you, through your eyesight, it tells you that it is a table. So you get to know what your eyes and mind show you, right? That is how you perceive the reality around you. But you cannot actually get to know about the thing in itself, how this is independent, how this object is independent of how you perceive it, कि ये actually में कैसा है, राइट? ये मुझे दिख रही है कि ये टेबल है, राइट? तो मैं मान लेती हूँ कि ये टेबल है, बट ये एक्चुअली में कैसा है, द थिंग इन इटसेल्फ, आई विल नेवर बी एबल टू नो, राइट? बिकॉज आई कैन ओनली नो थिंग्स थ्रू माई परसेप्शन, through the lens of my perception. So that is what this sentence is trying to tell us. We cannot catch a glimpse of things in themselves, how they actually are, around the corner of our own eyes. So if I'm looking with my eyes, I can only get to know the thing as I see it, as I perceive it, as I understand it. We cannot form an idea of reality that floats above the processes of our conceiving it, right? So the argument that is reflected here is that if the reality of things is independent of our perception, if I say that this object in itself is independent of how I look at it, right? It is something different from how I look at it, then I can't perceive it, right? बिकॉज मुझे वही समझ में आएगा जो मुझे दिख रहा है, यू नो, आई कांट रियली अंडरस्टैंड इट आउटसाइड माई परसेप्शन. सो बी इज द आंसर हियर. नाउ ए, our knowledge of reality cannot be merged with our process of conceiving it. That is not the argument being made here, that our knowledge can't be merged with the process. Okay, we are not saying this thing here, that the process of understanding something is different from the knowledge gathered. That everybody knows, right? The process is a different thing, the knowledge gathered is a different thing. So this is not something that is being conveyed through this sentence. So eliminated. See, if the reality of things is independent of our eyesight, it's not about our eyesight, to be honest. It's about our perception, how we conceive things, how we perceive things, right? It's not merely about how I see things, it's also about how I hear them, basically, how I sense them through my faculties. So, eyesight is not the one that is the issue here. Also, look at this part, we cannot perceive our perception. That is absurd. We cannot perceive our perception. Okay, so this sentence here itself, this clause here itself is absurd. Our knowledge of reality floats above our subjective perception of it. No, our knowledge can never float above our subjective perception of reality. हमारी knowledge उतनी है जितना हमें समझ में आता है. Okay, so this can never happen, and B is the answer here. Have you understood it? I understand that this is a slightly abstract concept. So you really, as I said, you really need to put your mind and heart into it. Hanji, clear to everyone? Those who said C, D, A. All right. Okay, question 2. So we'll go back, read this question here, and then we'll go back to the last paragraph. Read the options. So let's go to that part where we discuss this. So the last paragraph, right? I'll not show you the exact place. Find it out. Okay, let's go back to the question. I'm sure you've read the part. Now tell me what the answer should be. Anji, just one response I've got. What about others? It's a direct question. I even went back to that area. Nishan says B, Jwala says B, Anish says D. Okay, all right. See, so those who are saying B, you've read the wrong part. Okay, D is the answer here. Let's see. So we hold our beliefs and presumptive knowledges more or less confidently, usually depending on something. This exact line, it has been picked from your last paragraph. Just go to that part. We hold our beliefs and presumptive knowledges more or less confidently, usually depending on how we acquired them. So the examples are given. I saw it with my own eyes. I heard it on Fox News. A guy at the office told me. And how broadly and strenuously they seem to be shared or endorsed by various relevant people, experts and authorities, friends and family members, colleagues and associates. So social circle aa gaya. This is our social circle here. So this is the part that answers this. Those who are saying B as the answer, you are actually uh, talking about this area, that how we examine our convictions. We examine our convictions or defend them depending on what is at stake for us, depending on what resources are available to us. So this is about defending or examining our presumptive knowledge. This is about holding the beliefs and presumptive knowledges. So D, Delhi is our answer and not A. So just because we have an all of the options listed here or all of the above, that does not mean that that has to be the answer, right? This is one of those rare occasions when in CAT you got a question that said all of the options. Usually all of the above is asked less frequently in CAT, okay? Very rarely in CAT. Okay. Now, let's have a look at this. The author discusses all of the following arguments in the passage except. So what has the author not discussed? Good afternoon, Vanshika. Yes, this is a CAT previous year passage. So what do you say? All right. Veracity is again the truth. Excellent. All of you are correct. B, Bangalore is the answer. All of these are stated. These arguments have been made in the passage A, C, and D. Right. Uh, this is given to us that if we cannot actually distinguish knowledge from the claims that we make or the opinions that we hold, then will not be our actions will not be justifiable or rational. That was written there. Okay, they'll be irrational and unjustifiable. Then philosophers do say this, that this should be of concern to everyone, and skeptics say that we can never actually fully know anything. Okay, there is a whole school of thought, a whole school of philosophy called skepticism that advocates this, that we can never. So it says this, it says that we can't even say this for sure. They refrain from saying this also, that we can never know anything. So we can never fully know anything. Okay. They even refrain from putting it this way, because they feel that if they put this sentence this way, no, that it is not possible, it is impossible to know anything, then that is also absolute knowledge. How can you know that you can never know? You get it? So very interesting school of philosophy, this one, skepticism. Uh, find out more about it, right? Okay, anyway, so B is our answer here. I hope you got some sense of what epistemology deals with, right? This passage was essentially about epistemology. When do we know that we know? How much can we know? Etc. etc. Right? Um and there are other branches also. Metaphysics is there. There is ethics. There is aesthetics, right? And philosophers use logic. Now, let's come to an RC passage that talks about aggression as a behavior, right? And it talks about it from the lens of psychology. Because as we studied, psychology is the study of mind and its functions that affect behavior in a given context. So, passage 2. A very short passage. See, it is just 2 slides, and then no, sorry, uh, it was just 2 paragraphs. I have broken it down further so that we have larger text on each slide. But essentially, this is 1 paragraph, and this is your second paragraph. So 2 paragraphs essentially. Okay. So let's start reading. Let me know once you complete. I've deliberately hidden myself so that you're not distracted. Others, okay, done. All right, good. So a very simple passage, pretty straightforward. Right. Done this one too. Perfect. Let's go to the next slide then. Predisposed means when you show a natural inclination towards something. Done. Perfect. The last slide then. Done. Others? Okay, perfect. So let's go to our questions then. Question 1. Okay, others? Okay, I need more responses. Okay, 4 of you say A, and you're absolutely right. A is the answer here. In fact, all of you say A. Excellent. So I think this pretty much paraphrases, meaning stating in other words, the sentence itself, right? So this is the larger point that is being made here, that there is no hostility there, there is no animosity there. The feeling of enmity, when you think the other person is your enemy and you sort of hate that person, that is animosity. They may not be present, you're just trying to achieve some end there. So this just has a utilitarian purpose for you. It simply has some utility use for you, right? So is the answer. The other options are far apart, so you can easily eliminate them. Okay, what about this one? Okay, got two responses. Others? All right. So three answers I've got. I think this is something that is extremely clear in the RC passage. It's a direct question, right? And the answer is definitely C. Aggressor, the person on whom aggression is committed, right? The victim of the aggression, and the context, which is the circumstances, right? Okay. How about this one? The author discusses all of the following arguments in the passage except that. So, what has not been discussed? Let's see what you say here. Okay. Okay, so I've got two D's, one A, four D's. Okay, all right, let's have a look. Aggression in most societies is kept under control through moderating the death instinct identified by Freud. We do talk about the death instinct identified by Freud. In case you are confused whether this part is given or not, let's go and check. Right, always do this. Whenever you are unsure, go and check. In case the sentence, the option, it belongs to a certain specific part of the passage, then you can always go back. Okay. So, what did Freud say? He proposed that all individuals are born with a death instinct that inclines us to a variety of aggressive behaviors, including suicide and mental illness. Right, that's what he said. But is it written anywhere that societies actually keep the death instinct in check? That is not there. So, actually, our answer is option A itself. This has not been made. This argument has not been made. B says the nature of aggression can vary depending on several factors, including intent. This is something that is given to us. When we identify the three factors, this is outrightly stated there, right? So, it is based upon three key variables that present themselves. The social circumstance, the variable is target or victim, and intent was also there, no? Mm, just a second. Instinct. I remember reading about intent. Where did we read it? Yes, who will tell me? I think, oh, okay, this is the first paragraph, na? इसमें होगा. It must be here, that ultimate intent. Yes. Okay, I forgot that there were 4 slides. I was just searching 3 slides. All right. So in the beginning itself, we've talked about intent, and that is why even this has been discussed. So this cannot be the answer. Men in general, yes, we show this towards the end that on an average, men have a higher level of testosterone, so they are generally believed. And see, it says believed because this was written that this is an assumption. It is based on the assumption that on an average. So that's why the option also takes care to write belief there because of the word assumption, right? Okay, and the last option was also mentioned. What was it? That aggression may have roots in the biological condition. In fact, that is what we discussed in the second paragraph. That we have hormonal factors, we have low neural inhibition, right? All of these are rooted in biological condition. Okay? So, our answer here is A because this has not been discussed. I hope this makes sense. And you see that this passage was easier. So, not every passage of a particular genre is going to be of a certain level. So you can have easy passages in philosophy, you can have moderate passages in psychology, you can have easy passages in psychology, just like we saw this one. So be prepared for all difficulty levels and don't go with this inhibition philosophy है तो difficulty होगा, psychology तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आता. These are all inhibitions, right? Also, if you're interested in knowing our pedagogy, our materials, then you can unlock our free trial, okay? A free day, 3 day free trial, not a free day free trial. And you can find the link for it in the description box. Also, these are our CAT 22 toppers. I'm sure you know their faces by heart now. And if you want to be one of them, you can join our batch. These are the details. The link for this is again in the description box. To make these batches accessible, we keep conducting scholarship tests. So the next one is on the 25th at 11 a.m. I assure you that the level is much easier than CAT. So if you score well here, you can get up to a 90% scholarship. And in case you are confused about whether you have enough time for CAT now or not, and what exactly should you focus on in these months that you have, then you should attend this workshop on the 27th at 7 p.m. Saral sir will guide you about this. This is an ongoing series. I'm sure a lot of you are attending it. In case you aren't, I strongly suggest you to do so because we discuss VA, RC, we discuss a lot of CAT relevant questions in this series. I think 24 parts of this series have already happened and it will go on till CAT. So a lot of material for you, right? Okay. And these are the platforms that we are present on. And you can also download our app. We have sessions on the app also, right? So there are series that go on the app also. They are also free. You can you can attend those. And there's a lot of free practice material also available on the app. Okay, then this is it from my side for today. I'll see you next time. Yes, Pratyusha, right? Yes, Sri, this was from CAT 2020. Okay. All right then. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you.